So a couple days ago, a new update for CS2 was actually released. This update includes a completely new way to buy skins in the game, something called the new arms dealer. Now, I had no idea this update was releasing, but I was fortunate enough to catch the update releasing live on stream, and this is what I had to say about it. Wait, there actually is a new update. It's the sign of a new update in CS2, and your grenades, which now have unique higher fidelity sounds for draw, inspect, pin, pull, and throw. What? For community map makers, there's a new scripting system available along with some examples for you to check out. Spectator loadout. Finally, a reason to be happy. Your teammates are dead. While you're busy clutching, your teammates can peek at your full loadout, inspecting your whip. What? Stay alive and show off the best of your collection. But, oh, and there's new collection. Oh, this is what I saw on Twitter. Genesis Collection featuring 17 finishes from community contributors. Genesis Collection items can be accessed via Genesis uplink terminals, which are available as a weekly drop. So, my problem that I'm seeing here, that I have been meaning to speak out about for the longest time, is that once again, this is an update that is really mostly focused around skins. And I can't stress this enough. We don't need more of these. We do not. We do not need more skin updates in this game because we already have too much. And it is very clearly the main focus of the developers. And that's a problem. Now, I feel like a lot of people are going to say, well, that's just because they're working on gameplay updates, but they take longer. And that's a very fair point. Obviously, gameplay updates take longer, but you have to understand that that's not gonna stop the community from thinking you only care about skins. If Valve does care about the gameplay of Counter-Strike and not only about the skins because they make the money, then they need to show it, and they need to show it in a better way rather than just keeping radio silence and continuing to give us skin updates. Now, that last statement right there that I made is honestly the reason why I wanted to make this video. I have CS pulled up in front of me right here. What I want to talk about today mostly has to do with this armory pass and everything that the game has been doing since this thing got added. While I'm doing that, I'm going to be playing a little bit of deathmatch because I want to try and get some XP to hopefully get this arms dealer thing, because I think you get it as a weekly drop, I believe. So I just need to play some deathmatch and hopefully I get it in my weekly drop. In this video, I want to talk about the direction that Valve has been taking with some of the updates. It really does feel like majority of the updates in this game recently have just been focused on skins and not so much about gameplay. And I mean, I've talked about this before, and I've said that it does make sense in the perspective that gameplay updates obviously take longer, and skin updates are something that can easier be implemented for the sake of just putting some kind of update into the game to, you know, keep people coming back to it. That makes perfect sense, and it's something that as a game company, you just sometimes have to do. You just have to show your player base that, like, you're still actively working on the game, you're doing something, which is typically, in a lot of games, what skin updates are for. Or at least, like, updates about, like, some kind of cosmetics, right? Updates that don't necessarily have to do with the gameplay, but just like small quality of life updates, because they're easy to implement, they show activity from the developer side, that's what they're supposed to do. The problem is, in the case of Counter-Strike, that ship has kind of sailed. This is a game that very, very much focuses on skins, because that's how Valve makes their money, and it's kind of their own doing. Obviously, in a game where opening crates is such a big part of the game, that's always going to happen. There's not really a way to avoid that. But as long as the company keeps working on actual good gameplay updates for their game, then it doesn't really matter if they take longer, because eventually they'll come out, right? Now, typically, if you don't want your community to start thinking of you in a different way, or start calling you, I don't know, lazy, or think that you only care about, you know, making money off of the game and don't actually care about the state of it, you'll want these updates to be pretty consistent. And obviously, that's not always a quota you can reach, because some updates just take a hella long time to actually develop. And in that case, what you need to do is you need to be transparent with your audience, your player base. You need to be transparent with the community about what kind of updates you're working on, like what is being worked on, and what the players can expect in the future. And that's something that Valve has never done. I think any self-respecting Counter-Strike player knows this. Valve has never been particularly good at communicating with their player base. Now, because Valve has decided to be this radio silence company that just releases updates when they release their update and doesn't really say anything to anyone until said updates are released, it's gonna paint a pretty bad picture of them in the eyes of the player base. And that's pretty much what's happened now. It's because the past, I think, like 4, 5, 6 updates that we have gotten in CS2 have all been related to skins. The only one we've gotten that wasn't related to skins was the update where they updated the, what's it called? The anim graph. And even then, I think in that update, they released new skins with the anim graph stuff, did they not? So a lot of people have been saying that, you know, Valve only cares about making money off of this game. And for the longest time, I didn't want to agree with that because it's such like a doomer mindset to have, which I really don't like. But I have to admit that with every update that they release, it's becoming more and more difficult to, like, not think that they only care about skins, because it really does feel like it. It is really starting to feel like all Valve really cares about with this game is just making money off of it, and they don't actually care about the player base, because one way or another, enough people will keep playing the game just because it's such a huge title. So I was thinking, what needs to change for this to go away? What needs to change so that Valve doesn't look like, you know, some money-hungry dog company anymore? Well, I mean, the most obvious thing would obviously be, you know, just communicate with your audience more, for fuck's sake. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I would not be surprised if this is not even like a case of the CS2 developers actually being money hungry, but rather something that comes from like the higher up executives of Valve itself that are basically telling their CS2 department that, like, hey, we need this game to make this much money in this time period. Basically, we need this game to reach a certain quota, and the only way the devs can think of how to do that is to basically do what they're doing, which is add more skins and more way to monetize the game. Now, why this would be the case, I don't know, because as everyone keeps saying, fucking Valve makes like an absurd amount of money from CS2. I don't think they have a single title that has made them more money than Counter-Strike. But what also wouldn't surprise me is Valve is a big fucking company, and I can't think of many titles that are in this day and age like really as relevant as Counter-Strike is. I mean, they were working on, like, Deadlock, for example, but, I mean, now that we have Marvel Rivals, I honestly don't think Deadlock, even when it does get released, is gonna get very far, just because Marvel Rivals beat them to it. So outside of better communication, what does Valve need to do to, you know, make Counter-Strike great again, basically? Obviously, more gameplay updates, but I still have a high suspicion that that is being worked on. The thing that confuses me the most is the fact that, from what I know, from what I've heard from, you know, leakers and, like, other sources and whatever, apparently the reason gameplay updates take so long is because basically the Source 2 engine failed Counter-Strike. It's the best way that I can describe it. From what I understand, the Source 2 engine was built and the subtick system was implemented when Counter-Strike 2 was released, but apparently the code for Counter-Strike 2, or as CS2 players call it, spaghetti code, just doesn't make any sense, and apparently it's really hard to, like, improve because of how unstable it is. So we now basically have the CS2 developers fighting their own engine, fighting their own code when trying to improve the game for the sake of their players, which fucking sucks. And I mean, the thing is, they are trying to, like, you know, make gameplay updates and, like, improve the game, make it more stable, more fun, and, you know, just more enjoyable to play. But at the same time, it's their own fault that we are in this position in the first place. I do still have faith that eventually, the game will get to a state where it's finally, like, enjoyable to play again, but I think some very big and crucial steps are gonna have to be taken before that happens. And that is the biggest problem, is that those big steps could take years to actually be finalized. All because the game's code is that fucking dog shit. That is literally the reason why we're as far back as we are. I mean, I'm sorry, but when you have some of the best players in the world tweeting about how bad the game feels, that's how you know that it is bad. And the thing is, Valve still isn't gonna care because the pros aren't what makes them money. Well, looks like I didn't get the arms dealer thing in my update. So instead, I'll just go for the skin and the recoil case. Thank you, Valve. Now, let me actually look at this arms dealer thing. How do I do that? Ah, sealed Genesis terminal. This is what I need. It costs 10 bucks. I guess I'll buy one to see how it works. Just give me a moment. God damn it. All right, so let's unseal this thing. Oh, you actually can't see that because my camera's in the way. Whatever. One item may be purchased from this terminal. This terminal will present multiple offers for the following items. So what do we actually have in here? We have the Scar 20 caged. That looks all right. The AUG trigger discipline, which looks... it looks decent, but not really my thing. The P2000 Red Wing in good float. This is actually a pretty cool skin, although it looks kind of Valorant-y, if I'm honest. MP9 Broken Record. This actually looks dope. This is very clean. I like this, but it looks like something that would very easily be, like, scratched. P250 Bullfrog, which, I mean, I don't like the colors. Max 7 Magnitude. That actually looks pretty cool. I still prefer the heat, but I like the deep red that it has. MP5 Focus. I don't care about MP5. Nova Ocular. Looks whatever. And for everyone that's liquid... Oh, yo, how much do these go for? I might cop one. God damn it. I'm thinking the way Valve wants me to think. Dual Berettas Angel Eyes. They look cool, but I'm just not a fan of the colors. Macton Catfight. That looks dope. And it has, like, an actual, like, hole where you can see the bullets from on the other side, which is dope. UMP 45 Continuum. I like the pattern and the colors that it uses. It's one of those that kind of like, you can kind of see, yeah, it like changes colors depending on like perspective. So you can see it looks full blue right now, and now you can see that it's more so like green, which is really cool. The Op Ice Cold, which I don't think I'm gonna be buying, but it looks pretty cool. MP7 Smoking Kills. This is very, very vibrant. Glock 18 Mirror Mosaic. This is beautiful. I can see a lot of e-girls wanting one of these. M4A4 Full Throttle. That is very green. If it looks smooth, I might buy one of these. The AK-47 The Oligarch, which a lot of people keep complaining about as a Valorant skin. I'm not gonna lie, I think the P2000 looks more Valorant than that thing, but you know what? Sure. Let's unseal the terminal. Let's see what happens. I should probably move my camera. Border guard in Autodon said the paperwork didn't match, so I gave him a stack of Ari and suddenly it did. I didn't even know what 10,000 Ari is in actual money, like $6 or something. So you want to look at some guns that don't exist? This one's yours if you want it. If not, your loss. So I can buy a field-tested Op Ice Cold for 13 euro. Now, what I'm curious about is if I go to the Steam market real quick and I search Op Ice Cold, I get nothing, because they're not marketable. So what I'm curious about is this worth the money? Like, is this actually how much this costs in terms of, like, when it's on the market? Because, I mean, this is the price that Valve is giving me, but, like, is that a good price? I don't know. I'm probably just gonna pass, because, I mean, I don't want one. Like, if anything, I can always buy one later, so I'm just gonna pass. So let's see what else I get. No, thank you. So I get 5 offers, I believe, right? A Nova. Okay, well, that's not what I need. Maybe I should have taken the up. God damn it. MP5 field test. Well, again, an MP5, that's not something that I need. I'm just curious, like, how this thing actually works. Okay, so a pink UMP for $2, which I don't want. Decline the final offer and discard this terminal. Okay, so I probably should have just taken the up, huh? God damn it. See you next time. All right, I'm not gonna beg you to take it. Hope you didn't think you were getting a free uplink terminal out of this. Ah, and then if I want to do it again, I have to buy a new one. Okay, so I probably should have just taken the op. God damn it. I mean, that's my bad. I didn't know how it works. Honestly, I just did this for the content so that you guys can understand how this thing actually works. But I mean, it's an op ice cold. I don't think that thing's going to be very expensive. I think I can get one for cheaper than 13 euros. So yeah, moral of the story, it really does feel like Counter-Strike 2 is focusing way too heavily on skins and nothing else. They're very slowly trickling in other game modes. I mean, we have like arms race back and stuff like that, but it almost feels like they add some of those things when they realize that that's like their last minute resort to get more people to come back to the game. At least that's what it feels like. I hope I'm wrong on this because it really would suck if this is the case. But let me know what you think.